Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. I'll tell you what, I love what President Trump is doing. He is giving a big middle finger to the radical left, and he's doing it by appointing alphas to his administration. From Mike Waltz to John Ratcliffe to Matt Gaetz as the next Attorney General, Pete Hegseth, Department of Defense. And I want to focus in now on Matt Gaetz because I've been honored to really call Matt Gaetz a friend. I've gotten to know him over the years when he was going through some trouble. I think even Matt Gaetz would tell you I was the only guy, I was on Newsmax, that was fighting for him to continue to come on my show because I knew this guy was innocent of the charges they were leveling against him. He's a fighter. He stands up for us. He believes in the Constitution. He loves America. And you know what he really hates? He hates woke ideology. And he hates the wussification of America. And mostly, he hates the weaponization of government. So this makes sense to put him in charge of the Attorney General's office, leading the Department of Justice. If we want to make over the Department of Justice, is there anybody better to pick than Matt Gaetz? This is a smart, bright guy who will take the fight to those inside, and he will not back down from the deep state that did everything they could do to take him down, and still Matt Gaetz, like President Trump, was left standing. The biggest fight for Matt Gaetz, I think, is going to be getting through the United States Senate. I think you got some rhino Republican senators that if they don't abide by President Trump's wishes, I want them gone, and I want them gone right away. I'm talking about Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, already coming out and saying they're not going to vote for Matt Gaetz. What kind of bullcorn is this? What kind of nonsense is this? The American people issued a mandate by electing President Trump. We want bold leadership and we want change. If you're in the United States Senate, I get you don't want change because you elected John Thune to be your leader. John Thune promised he'd have the president's back. I'm going to give him some leeway, just like I gave Speaker Johnson leeway. And when you step out of line, I'm going to be there yelling and screaming about it. John Thune, this is your time to shine. You whip these folks into shape. You get them in line and you get Matt Gaetz approved and through so he can lead this organization to a level that it should be to represent America, to go after real criminals, not conservatives or political foes. That goes for Pete Hegseth, too, at Department of Defense. So what I wanted to do was play for you some of the best, most triggering moments that Matt Gaetz has had. It's the reason why I think so many of us love the guy, and it's the reason why so many of those on the other side hate the guy. This should be fun. We'll go through it. Then we'll go through some of Tom Homan's best clips, the guy who's going to be President Trump's border czar, and how already we're getting people coming out in leadership positions of liberal cities and states saying they're not going to cooperate with Tom Homan, President Trump, the federal government when it comes to deporting illegal aliens. How are you not going to cooperate with the federal government when, again, the people have spoken? So we're going to get to all of that here on the podcast in just a moment. Before we do that, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Consumer Advocates USA. This is a buyer's club for patriots. If you want to take America back, if you want to take market share away from China, if you want to take market share away from Amazon, if you want to stop the infusion of Chinese products into America, get with causanow.com. You can transform your entire house. You make the switch to all products. It's you could go online, you order all the products. Everything you could possibly need for your house is on there, including steaks, including coffee, all kinds of stuff, protein bars, laundry detergent, you name it, they have it. causanow.com/grant. I urge you to go there, become a member, show your patriotism. I have been a member for 2 years now. I'm so happy with the products. Everyone I know that has switched is happy with the products. All American made, non-toxic chemicals. causanow.com/grant. They will get right back with you. Sign up, fill out the little sheet there, and you're going to love what you get with these products. All right, with that, I say we get the show started, and we show you a little of the best of Matt Gaetz. I love when the Ultra MAGA Party puts together these videos.
I have other questions. I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI
well, you won't
does
answer the
not no interest in
You won't answer the
protecting
question
anyone
about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you. You preside over the FBI that has the lowest level of trust in the FBI's history. People trusted the FBI more when J. Edgar Hoover was running the place than when you are. And the reason is because you don't give straight answers. You give answers that later a court deems aren't true. And then at the end of the day, you won't criticize an obvious shakedown when it's directly in front of us. And it appears as though you're whitewashing the conduct of corrupt people.
Respectfully, Congressman, in your home state of Florida, the number of people applying to come work for us and devote their lives working for us is over 100%.
We're deeply proud of them, and they deserve better than you.
That's the kind of guy I want as Attorney General. Now, can you imagine him on the other side of questioning? When it's some Democratic loon asking Matt Gaetz questions, he's going to take the fight to them. This is exactly what we need. So there's talk about doing away with the FBI. I don't think it's possible to do away with the agency. The agency's core mission is needed in America. The problem is it's not carrying out its core mission. The problem is leadership inside the FBI. Now, here's the reality of things. You can change the name. You can move headquarters, but you can't really change the mission. The mission is to prosecute federal crimes. That's it. And so whether those federal crimes happen to be drug dealer, whether they happen to be financial crimes, whether they happen to be RICO statutes, the mafia, gang activity, whether it happens to be espionage and terrorism, this is the FBI's core focus, not going after conservatives. The FBI's core focus should never have been going after January 6ers. If anything, they should have left that case alone. And now we still have people sitting in prison there. I would like all of the cases to be dropped. This is what I hope Matt Gaetz does when he gets in there. Drop all of the still pending cases against January 6ers and then go in and ask the courts to overturn the convictions of others if President Trump's not going to pardon them, which I do believe President Trump will pardon them. I've got more of Matt Gaetz here. Before I do that, I want to answer a question, though. What is this? AI Teen, I believe this says. Says, what about General Flynn? Can you talk about why Flynn wasn't chosen for Secretary of Defense? After all he went through, Flynn has stayed loyal to Trump, got shafted, went bankrupt, lost his house, and now nothing. There's a lot of people you could talk about this to. Roger Stone went through a ton. Is there a spot for Roger Stone as an advisor there? Now, I'm told Roger Stone is involved in quite possibly the purchase of InfoWars through bankruptcy. That would be a fascinating deal if Roger Stone gets involved in that, working with Alex Jones. You've got Steve Bannon. As of yet, I haven't heard Steve Bannon picked for any kind of a position in there. You've got Sebastian Gorka. Gorka hasn't heard from the administration. You've got, of course, General Flynn, Rudy Giuliani. These are all people that deserve something inside the administration. Now, because they haven't been called yet, doesn't mean they will not be called. I think President Trump is focusing on his cabinet now. I know you wanted General Flynn as Secretary of Defense. I'm not sure that would have been a battle for confirmation as well, just like Matt Gaetz is going to be a battle. I believe there should be a role for General Flynn. Lord knows he's paid the price. Lord knows he's been a patriot. But everybody I just mentioned has been a patriot as well and paid the price. I don't think it's a case that President Trump doesn't trust Flynn. I think President Trump does trust Flynn. And we're getting this, InfoWars has already been purchased by something called The Onion. Well, The Onion was bidding on it. The Onion is, of course, that satire site. If that's true, it's a very interesting purchase. We'll see if The Onion transforms itself into a conservative news outlet or spins off InfoWars as its arm because The Onion is satire. So I appreciate the insight on that. But all of this, by the way, folks, is what President Trump is doing right now as he picks his cabinet. So there's a lot of people I know. Look at Kash Patel. Kash Patel, unless I just got off the radio. So if he has been announced as something, tell me. Let me know in the chat room. But he has not been announced as something. I'm sure there'll be a role for Kash Patel. I hope it's leading the FBI hand in hand with Matt Gaetz. Could you imagine that 1-2 punch? That would be nothing short of miraculous if that was able to happen. So I told you I got more of Matt Gaetz. I got lots of it, by the way. But before I get into that, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at Get21Now.com. You see what Bitcoin is doing? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter with Get21Now.com. If you want to get involved with the Bitcoin craze, you want to get up to 21% guaranteed monthly cash flow income. Monthly. 21% annualized paid out monthly. This is the greatest thing going. I have invested with Get21Now.com. I get my direct deposit every month like clockwork. They have lived up to all of their promises. I think this is going to be great during the Trump years. Trump is the crypto presidency. What Get21Now.com does, a company called NFN8, they build these warehouses, giant warehouses. They mine the Bitcoin. They sell it off the next day. And they pay you your investment for investing in those mining assets. Get21Now.com, 21% monthly income. It's annualized interest, paid monthly, mailbox money. Get21Now.com. Again, I've got a lot of my friends have gone over there and started using them too. And again, they're living up to their promises. Get21Now.com. I don't know where else you can get 21% like this paid out monthly. It's great stuff. All right, I promised you more Matt Gaetz. Okay. It gets better and better as you play these clips. This is what I want to see from every cabinet member of President Trump, but Matt Gaetz clearly leads the pack.
You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis' office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
You make a request. We'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated to the highest court in our country.
I'm going to play some more of him. Here's my biggest concern. The Department of Justice right now is a crime scene. Now with the appointment of Matt Gaetz as the next Attorney General, I believe the document destruction is going to unfold at a rate you have never seen before. This is going to put mafia accounting rooms to shame. They're going to try to destroy the evidence, and I think all of these people should be put on notice. We know that Jim Jordan has sent letters to many of these agencies. We know that the Speaker of the House has sent letter to many of these agencies saying, preserve your documents. But that doesn't mean shit. You know why? Because they've already shown they'll break the law. I don't think some letter demanding that they preserve the documents that they know they're already supposed to preserve is going to do anything. I'm fearful that you need to put people inside these agencies, surround these documents with armed guards, and do not let Merrick Garland or anybody under his purview get near these documents. The DOJ is a crime scene. Matt Gaetz knows it. Now he's going to have the keys to the castle, and that's going to be bad news for Merrick Garland. So I have said I would like to run a new presidential office for President Trump, a new cabinet spot, a new division of the federal government. the Office of Retribution, okay? Grant Stinchfield, director of the Office of Retribution. Wouldn't that be great? You want to trigger the left? We trigger it that way. See, we already have a government accountability office. Accountability is a nice word for retribution. I want retribution. I want someone to pay. Yes, I want someone to be held accountable. Saying we want them held accountable is just a nice way to say, you know what? Some of these people deserve to be punished. I believe Matt Gaetz will get in there. We'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll see what criminal behavior is out there. I don't want to just go haul people in if they didn't do anything criminal. If they were a little devious and sneaky, playing within the blurred lines of the law, fine, that's politics. We're all big boys. But you make one move where you broke the law and it's clear you did. You concoct evidence. You concoct search warrants. You make up bogus garbage like this Russian collusion hoax against President Trump. Well, then you need to be hauled in front of a court. And I think Matt Gaetz will do that. And it's going to be the mission that he's given from President Trump. Let's continue him with Merrick Garland, who's the complete opposite, beta male. You cannot get two opposite attorneys general here.
When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots,
court.
Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
You know what's amazing? I could watch this all day long. I think this is better than any TV show because when Matt Gaetz questions these deceitful partisan hacks like Merrick Garland, we actually start to peel back the layers of the onion and you see just how much it stinks. And yes, like an onion, it makes you want to cry. But before you cry, you get really angry because you can see how partisan Merrick Garland is and doing everything he can do to hide the truth. And that's not what we need from people inside government. We don't need people that are hiding the truth. What we need is transparency.
Matthew Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ. And then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the DOJ.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I can tell you I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, We put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired, here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family's making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service.
Thank you, Matt Gaetz. It's worth playing. That's a 5-minute clip. It's worth playing all of it because he's very quick on his feet, as you could see. He's more prepared than the witness, the Attorney General of the United States. And again, it's the same way with Kamala Harris. When you're trying to hide your true beliefs, it's very difficult to come off in a sincere manner. They can't do it because they're basically lying the whole way. You know, Matt Gaetz said something interesting there. It is the exact opposite of what you should do in a law enforcement investigation. You follow the facts, you follow the evidence. That leads you to a target. What the DOJ has done against President Trump is acquired the target, as Matt Gaetz says. The DOJ acquires the target and then goes and tries to find the evidence. And if they can't find the evidence, they concoct the evidence. That's a setup job. That's tyrannical. That's the worst government has to offer. And that is what Matt Gaetz is going to have to unwind and unfold when he gets into the DOJ. I assume the knives are going to be out. The deep state will dig in like cockroaches. When the lights go on, they will scatter into the cracks and crevices of the Department of Justice. But with a can of Raid and a few good men and women, Matt Gaetz will go in there and spray that place down and rid the DOJ once and for all of these evildoers that despise the American way of life, that despise conservatives, despise President Trump, and do everything they can to back up the Democrat Party. Those days are over. That's why I'm so happy Matt Gaetz is in. I've got more Matt Gaetz clips. But first, folks, let me tell you about EnergizedHealth.com. You see this right here? I'm feeling great. This is 55 years old. I'm hydrated at a cellular level. The science behind the EnergizedHealth.com program is what allowed me to really get in some of the best shape of my life as I'm moving towards, senior citizen almost at 55. I don't feel like a senior citizen. I hope I don't look like a senior citizen. But Energized Health has been a total mind, body, soul process. And no crazy diets, no crazy workouts. I changed the way I eat a little bit. I'm getting hydrated at a cellular level. And the secret to this is cellular hydration. To learn about it, go to energizedhealth.com/Grant. I lost 15 pounds. I lost that in the first 2 weeks, by the way, and then maintained for the next 88 days as I worked to hydrate my body at the cellular level. Really an amazing program. It worked for me. I have the scientific measurements to prove it worked for me. It will work for you, whether you got to lose 200 pounds or you want to lose 20, 15, or just get back in shape and tighten it up. EnergizedHealth.com/Grant. Learn about cellular hydration today. I love playing these Matt Gaetz clips because they're just classic. He doesn't take any prisoners, and he doesn't care what people think. That's my kind of guy. If you watch me all the time, you know this is my kind of attitude.
Say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
Mm-hmm.
Girls at abortion rallies are ugly and overweight. Are you standing by those comments? Yes, I stand by those comments. Look, I'll tell you this. Left-wing women, I don't know what it is. We talked about this yesterday. We had all those lunatics on. They all look the same with the big glasses and the no makeup and the hair. They just let the hair go gray. Don't really brush it. Like, there's no care about themselves. So I guess if they don't really care about themselves, why would they care about the country? That seems to be a common theme. That goes for anybody, by the way. And so one of the reasons I like my Energized Health program is if you're overweight and you don't care about your body, how are you going to care about your business or the country or anything else? You've got to rein it in. God gives you one body. God gives us one country, by the way. There's only one country in the world where we can have the success that we have, and that's America. We got some other countries out there that are decent countries. I love Israel. England's okay. They've gone totally woke, but beautiful countryside. France, Italy. I love these countries to go visit, but they ain't America. Not by a long shot, even with Joe Biden ruining America. We got one country, take care of it. We got one body, take care of it. Somebody tell that to liberal women.
Like, why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb.
I mean, that's the best, too. Now, these will all come up during his confirmation. But think about it. President Trump has said some pretty out-of-bounds things as well, right? Didn't stop him. He's president of the United States now. And I think when these guys say things like this that are designed literally to stir the pot and trigger the opponents, our opponents, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. But it is funny. Here's Bomb Girl in the Rumble chat says she loves Gaetz. Female, I would assume. Bomb Girl. Why not love Gaetz?
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
That is the reaction. You gotta love social media. That's greatness. I don't know why I love pulling these clips, but I really do. So again, we talked about he's going to have a hard time in confirmation. Thankfully, we have some senators that are willing to stand with President Trump and his picks and that are strong in the face of adversity. And one of those senators is Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. This guy has really come out as a bright, shining star in the Senate. He's a conservative. He's unapologetic. He backs Gaetz. Watch.
Matt Gaetz get the votes in the Senate.
Well, hold on.
I don't know. You're finding all the swamp creatures coming out right now. Everybody's got an opinion up here, but at the end of the day, President Trump was elected by an enormous vote, and he deserves a team around him that he wants. It's not us to determine that. We've got 53 votes in the Senate. We can confirm with 51. I've already seen where a couple of them says, I'm not voting for him. Wait a minute. You are not the United States of America. You have one vote in the U.S. Senate. You did not get elected president. Vote with President Trump. This is the last chance we're going to have of saving this country. And if you want to get in the way, fine. But we're going to try to get you out of the Senate, too, if you try to do that.
What parts of Trump's...
So that's the best answer possible because that goes against the Senate norms for decades. Republican senators were supposed to join arms, side with the establishment, business as usual, toast scotches with your opponents down in the Senate members club in the basement. And in the end, that's getting thrown out the window now with guys like Tommy Tuberville, who's coming out and saying, you know what? I'm not your friend. I may be your colleague. We may be fellow Republicans. I act more like a Republican than you do, Joni Ernst, Susan Collins. Get on board with the mandate that Americans have given us. It's to make America great again. President Trump overwhelmingly wins. We know he's harsh. We know he's brash. We know he's strong-minded. He says what he means and does what he says. Then let him do it. Get out of the way. And if you don't want to get out of the way, let somebody else do it. Great job, Tommy Tuberville. The problem is we've got other guys. Now, I've always kind of liked this guy, Markwayne Mullin from Oklahoma. He's a tough guy. He's ready there to protect everybody. He wants the best for America, but for whatever reason, he sometimes sides with this establishment crowd, and I don't want him to because he fits the mold of what MAGA should be. But they asked him about Matt Gaetz.
You got to think about this guy. This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away.
You know, first off, let me tell you, this is bull crap. That's all this is. This guy's making up stories, okay? And he says no one in the media wanted to. I was at Newsmax, and I was the only guy that was interviewing Matt Gaetz. I was happy to interview him because he told me, Grant, I'm innocent of all this. And I said, I got you. I believe you. You come on my show anytime. You fight for America, I'll fight for you. It's literally that simple. They could never prove anything. They never got anything. They never came up with any evidence. Matt Gaetz is a good guy. They came after him for one reason and one reason only, because he was backing President Trump with everything he had. I'll continue Mark Wayne Mullen here, but know that he doesn't have anything on Gaetz. All he's talking about are rumors and speculation, which you shouldn't be doing this. If you respect President Trump, then respect his picks.
Of the girls that he had slept with, he'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night. This is obviously before he got married. And so when that accusation came out, no one defended him, and then no one on the media would give him a time of the day. All of a sudden, he found fame because he opposed the Speaker of the House back in November.
That's all of a sudden when he found it. Matt Gaetz was on that scene long before he did that. He was the darling of Fox News. And by the way, if he's crushing ED medication and taking it down with energy drink, who cares? He's a single guy. What's the difference? Like, everybody needs to lighten the hell up, man. Okay? Lighten up. When you're a single guy, trust me, I've been single. I got a very special lady friend now. I love her very much. But when you're single, you chase girls around. Okay? No big deal.
And he's always stayed there, and he was never going to leave until he got this last moment of fame by going after a motion to vacate.
I think these people are jealous. I really do. I think they're jealous of Matt Gaetz, so they come out like this. This is what you get in Washington. In many respects, I'm glad I'm here in Dallas. I really am.
Important to know, Congressman Gaetz has never been charged with any sex trafficking crime, and he gave this statement to CNN in response. I don't think Mark Wayne Mullen and I have said 20 words to each other on the House floor. This is a lie from someone who doesn't know me and who is coping with the death of the political career of his friend Kevin. Thoughts and prayers. I'm joined now by
Kevin McCarthy, of course, he's talking about. And I believe Matt Gaetz, sadly, before I believe Mark Wayne Mullen. It's a shame, really. Like, this is a point where we should be 100% totally unified in all of this. Now, Speaker of the House, Johnson, came out and talked about Matt Gaetz. This is yesterday. And this is good stuff. This is where I'm happy about Speaker Johnson.
Matt and I were classmates. We came to Congress at the same time in the 115th Congress in January 2017. And alphabetically, we're seated right next to one another in Judiciary Committee. We served there together for 7 years. Some of y'all who cover Judiciary know those are long meetings. So I got to know Matt very well. Look, I'll say this. Everyone who served with him will tell you he's one of the most intelligent members of Congress. He's an accomplished attorney. He's very concerned about the lawfare that has been occurring in the Department of Justice under the Biden administration, and the fact that the American people have lost their faith in our institutions of justice because of everything that they've seen. He's a reformer in his mind and heart, and I think that he'll bring a lot to the table on that.
Now, remember, in many respects, Johnson wouldn't be Speaker of the House if it wasn't for Matt Gaetz. So Johnson owes him a debt of gratitude, right? He likes his job. Many people say they wouldn't like this job. That's a tough job. I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't been the happiest with Speaker Johnson, but I do acknowledge it's a very tough job when you are at the razor-thin margins. There's no way to keep everybody happy. But I would still think you would want to side with conservatives on what's right, and sometimes Johnson doesn't. We all understand that. But I like that he has Gaetz's back here. I really do.
I think out of deference to us, He issued his resignation letter effective immediately of Congress. That caught us by surprise a little bit, but I asked him what the reasoning was, and he said, well, you can't have too many absences. So under Florida state law, there's about an 8-week period to select and fill a vacant seat. And so by doing so today, that allows me, I've already placed a call to Governor DeSantis in Florida and said, let's start the clock. He's in Italy at the moment, and so we're going to talk first thing in the morning about this. And if we start the clock now, if you do the math, we may be able to fill that seat as early as January 3rd when we take the new oath of office for the new Congress. So Matt would have done us a great service by making that decision as he did on the fly. And so we're grateful for that. So we move forward. Look, I'll say this about people have asked me all day long. President Trump is poaching all of your talent. Yes, but we have an embarrassment of riches here. The Republican conference is full of talented people who are extraordinary leaders and have great expertise, and everyone in this Congress, in this conference, could serve in a leadership position in the administration. But I have
not everyone, a lot of them, not everyone. You do have great talent. No thanks to the establishment of Republicans. You have great talent inside the Republican Party because of President Trump and the Make America Great Again movement, the greatest political movement of all time. Who's responsible for that? Again, I will say it. President Trump started it. He got the ball rolling. He's the motivator behind it. But you are all responsible for the Make America Great Again movement. Without you, we're all nothing. This is the greatest, biggest team effort that this nation has ever seen. There is awakening going on as we move into this post-woke era. And that's what's happening right now. This is a post-woke era. Now, Chuck Schumer, this guy was running the Senate. He doesn't get to run the Senate now. Do you know this mother scratcher has the audacity to come out and claim Republicans better be aware that we need unity now that they're in charge. Unity? You mother scratchers didn't want anything to do with unity. You want to run your committees like the Gestapo in the United States Senate. You did it in the House of Representatives when you controlled that too. There's no unity between us. There's no bipartisanship. What has to be done is a steamroll job. We are going to ram down the throats of Democrats legislation that will put America back on track, and that's a good thing. Maybe it's tough love for the radicals that can't understand why we shouldn't be paying for federal prisoners to have sex change operations, but we're not paying for that anymore. And if we have to legislate that away, then we'll legislate it away. Tough love now.
Now let me turn to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Another closely contested election now comes to an end. To my Republican colleagues, I offer a word of caution in good faith. Take care not to misread the will of the people, and do not abandon the need for bipartisanship. After winning an election, the temptation may be to go to the extreme. We've seen that happen over the decades, and it's consistently backfired on the party in power. So instead of going to the extremes, I remind my colleagues that this body is most effective when it's bipartisan. If we want in the next 4 years the Senate to be as productive as the last 4, the only way that will happen is through bipartisan
Do you believe this mother scratcher is pushing bipartisanship? Yeah, it's easy to push bipartisanship now. They were literally campaigning on doing away with the filibuster. Is that bipartisanship? No. Now that we've done away with the House, what do you all think about doing away with the filibuster? So for those of you that don't know, or you hear this term thrown around, let me just explain it. The filibuster, this 60-vote rule, means that before a piece of legislation can be moved to the floor for a vote, 60 senators have to agree that it be voted on. So in essence, in order to get something passed, you need 60 senators because they're going to approve it to a vote. Now, much of the legislation that we will push through is not going to have 60 senators agreeing on it. Just isn't. We need 7 Democrats to come across the aisle. It's not going to happen. Do we do away with that? Do we go with the nuclear option, as they often call it? I'm at the point in time where I say, you know what? We do. And if we lose the majority next time around, then we lost the majority. And that's just the way it goes. And again, politics is a big boy game. You don't want to lose the majority? Then don't lose the majority. Put up good candidates, run great campaigns, and win, baby, win. And if you can't, then the other one wins, then so be it. In many respects, that's the American way. So both sides are afraid of that. Both sides are really afraid of losing. Well, I hate losing. Some will say make it a motivator to win. But they do it to us. So now we have an opportunity that we have not had since 2016. We've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the White House. Ram stuff through. Start ramming it through, and it starts with national reciprocity, folks. My concealed handgun license in Texas should be good in California. Let's trigger Gavin Newsom on that front. Do I dare consider the guy or continue playing the guy that should be retired?
Cooperation. Democrats will be ready to do what we have consistently done. Work with both sides when the opportunity arises. Democrats will never abandon our values, but neither will we reject an opportunity to move the ball forward to make people's lives better when we can. The question is now whether or not Republicans are willing to do the same. To my colleagues on the other side, once again, do not abandon bipartisanship. It's the best and most effective way to get things done.
Abandon part? When did we have it? This has been the most divisive time in American history, and it goes back to the Trump years as well. There's no bipartisanship going on. I guess we got some of the Trump tax cuts through. That was good. It was all President Trump working that to push it through. We're not in a time right now where we want to be working with each other. They call us racists. They call us a threat to democracy. They call our leader a racist and threat to democracy. They say we're the enemy of the people. I say the media is the enemy of the people, and I don't say Democrats are. I just say Democrats are confused. They know not what they do, at least the blind liberal zombies. Now, Chuck Schumer, he's an enemy of the people. But I'm not an elected leader. I'm a pontificator. I can throw these names around. These are elected officials. They shouldn't be throwing that around, calling us all kind of names, and then they lose and then say, oh, I want to be bipartisan through this all. Give me a break. Deb L writes he's evil. I agree, Deb L. He 100% is. All right, before I go through some of the immigration stuff. So Tom Homan is going to be the immigration counterpart of Matt Gaetz, who's talk about another tough-talking, knuckle-dragging, gun-toting alpha male. That's what Tom Homan is, our new border czar. He has some people that are working against him. And Governor Pritzker is one of Illinois. You got this new police chief who's been sworn in L.A. who says they're not going to cooperate with any of the quest to deport illegal aliens, especially the violent criminals. Not going to cooperate. They'll continue to put American citizens in danger. One a governor, one a police chief of the second largest city in America. I'm going to play you those clips. This stuff, folks, is absolutely outrageous. Before I go there, though, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. I have a Patriot Mobile phone. I love it. The switch was so easy. I have two lines on this phone. One's a Verizon line, one's a T-Mobile line. So if I'm in an area or a city where one doesn't work so great, I can just go to the other line. I can receive calls from either line on this phone. That's fabulous. It's called the Patriot One plan. Ask them about it. One phone, two lines. Especially if you're a business owner and you need two different lines. It's great too. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code Grant. Get a free month's service, okay? They call themselves America's only Christian conservative wireless provider because they're on the front lines of conservatism, pushing for what we believe in God we trust, signs in school, supporting programs like this one here and on Real America's Voice. They're with almost every one of my conservative talker friends. That's because they're committed to pushing America in the right direction. If you're committed to the same thing, then commit your mobile phone service to Patriot Mobile. Really, making the switch is easy. 100% U.S.-based customer service. Go there today and do it. Finally make the switch. Stop funding the woke left by going with AT&T and Verizon. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. 972-PATRIOT is the number. 972-PATRIOT. And, of course, you tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right. Tom Homan is great, right? I'm going to show you how great he is.
Hey, look, they gave me 5 minutes to say a few things, so if I offend anybody tonight, I don't give a shit. How many pounds of fentanyl didn't make in this country to kill Americans? How many known suspected terrorists didn't make it in the country? How many billions of dollars did the cartels make? President Trump is one badass president. He secured the border at a level we've never seen before. And I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that's been released into the United States under this administration. Don't get too comfortable. We're going to need some help. Do I have any volunteers that want to come back and help run the biggest deportation operation in the history of this nation? In January of 25, the greatest president of my lifetime walking back in the White House. He tells me, we got, I say 120 days. He says, no, you got 60 to lock the border down. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I told the president. He comes back, I come back, we fix this shit.
I love this guy. Again, that's what we need. You see anybody talk like that inside the Biden administration? No. They're wishy-washy. They prance around. They dance around. They float around. Because they're all wuss bags. I'm tired of wuss bags running this government. From Merrick Garland to you name it. Every single one of them is a total wuss bag running this government. Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State. They're all Mayorkas, Homeland Security, Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray, man, that guy, I can't wait for him to go. I really can't. He says he's leaving. So Homan's going to have a tough time, though, because this is Governor Pritzker in Illinois. We know that President Trump says we're going to have the biggest mass deportation plan ever in American history. Now, who do you think he's going after, folks? And I want to make this very clear. President Trump is not going to start with the guy cutting your grass. He's not going to start with the farmers picking tomatoes down in Florida or strawberries. He's starting with MS-13. He's starting with Tren de Agua. He's starting with the fentanyl dealers. He's starting with the drunk drivers that go and kill American families and they're here illegally. He's starting with the rapists and murderers that are roaming American streets. And number one, he's starting with the terrorists that the Biden administration has let in. So there'll be a reprieve for the people that are here to try to just make themselves a better life. But if I were them, I'd self-deport myself now. While President Trump is focused on the worst of the worst and offering up this mass deportation plan, self-deport yourself, come back in the legal and right way. And you'll be welcome here. Legal immigration is welcome. Illegal immigration is not. So that's who I believe President Trump is going to start with. The worst of the worst, the bottom of the barrel. Well, Governor Jay Pritzker says, nope, we're going to keep these violent felons roaming the streets. We're not going to help you.
We also want to make sure that there isn't a violation of people's rights with, raids, for example, that are done in coordination with local law enforcement on people who are, frankly, holding down jobs and have been in this country for many, many years. We think that's improper. And in Illinois, that's not something that we would condone. There's been some talk about using other states' National Guard, red state National Guards to somehow come into a blue state and try and enforce these new Stephen Miller inspired rules. And that's just not something we're going to accept. But
let me tell you something. When it comes to raids, it's usually on a workplace. And it's not really about the illegals working there. I mean, it is. You take them into custody. But what it's really about are employers who are employing illegal aliens and know it. And when you knowingly employ illegal aliens, you add to the draw. You add to the incentive to come here. If employers wouldn't employ illegals, illegals would have no place to work and they wouldn't come to America. So we have to start cracking down on employers to take away the incentive to come here. That is all part of the plan. Hate to break the news to you, Governor Pritzker, but the American people don't like your way of thinking. We don't want to give them a pass. And Los Angeles, California, by the way, is overrun with crime. The fentanyl deaths in that city are out of control. I can't tell you how many families deal with young people dying in the shower of a fentanyl murder. I don't even call it an overdose. It's a fentanyl murder. Because the cartels have pushed this stuff into our nation at a pace that we can't even blink our eyes and there are people dead. So the new police chief in Los Angeles declares this. This is the opposite of the rule of law.
LAPD will protect our immigrant community. LAPD officers will not take action to determine a person's immigration status and will not arrest someone for their status. And LAPD will not assist with mass deportations. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants, and I know immigrants are being disparaged right now, but I want the people of Los Angeles to know my viewpoint. Our nation was built by immigrants, and LA, such an extraordinary city, because of the people here from literally all over the world.
Does he not understand we're talking about illegal immigrants? Everybody agrees this nation was built on immigrants. My grandfather came here from Italy, my great-grandfather. Okay? I understand what it's like to come here. He came through Ellis Island, built a fabulous business in New York City, construction company. I love immigration. Legal. And by the way, cracking down on illegal immigration has absolutely zero effect on legal immigration. We can build all the big, beautiful walls we want, and it won't have one iota of an effect on legal immigration. If you want to come here legally, there's a door for you to walk through. This wall is going to have no effect on you. But if you want to come here illegally, well, you better figure out a way to get around that wall or over that wall or through that wall. And I know some of you will, but a lot of you won't. That's why the walls work. This new chief, Jim McConnell, what a shame. You know, he was a Republican. He ran as a Republican to lead the LA County Sheriff's Office. I believe he lost. Then he ran as a Democrat. He won that. Then he lost again. Then he comes back. These guys that are Republican, Democrat, whatever I can win at, I'm going to run as. These are not the people you need in leadership positions at all. Now, more from Tom Homan, because this is how great he is. I'm just going to give you a little highlight reel.
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my country.
I've served my country
For 34 years.
I find your
This
comments
is out of
disgusting
control.
as well.
I've served my country for 34 years. And yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in the back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member of Congress.
We agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree on that, but I disagree. But I also disagree with your characterization of immigrants as prone to criminality.
People for 3 decades on this.
Gentlemen, time is.
Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get me go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
That is what you get with Tom Homan. You don't think this border is going to get secured? Think again. This border will be secured like you tight as a drum. Lock it down like a submarine, baby. I can't wait for this to unfold. I am so excited. I'm finally back in a good mood again. You know, we were covering for the last 4 years, it was just bad news after bad news. And what's Biden doing wrong? The country's being destroyed. We're getting beat up and taking shots left and right. And we're trying to fight back. And we're doing everything we can. And we keep moving forward. We keep having our eye on the prize that President Trump's going to get back in the White House. He's going to win. And for 4 years, it was exhausting for all of us. But guess what? In the end, we won. And now we got to carry out what we were wanting. We got to carry out the Make America Great Again agenda. But man, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch the beginning stages of this unfold. It's like when you plant a flower and you start to see the stems come up. And next thing you know, you got little buds coming. And then it blooms into a beautiful flower. America is going to be a beautiful flower again. And I love watching it grow here. And we're only a week or two into this. He's not even sworn in yet, and I'm in a better mood. It's amazing. This stuff's great. You know how I know we had a huge effect on all this? Because you literally had Democrats running under the Make America Great Again agenda. Have you seen this little clip of Democrat commercials pushing Trump-style politics? They were in so much trouble. Some of them lost. One of them won here. They pushed Trump-style politics. Watch this.
Can't let China steal Wisconsin jobs.
Benefits for illegal immigrants? No way. Blocking support for white farmers? I mean, look at me.
Standing with law enforcement against defunding the police.
I've owned a gun my whole life.
Let me be clear. I don't want boys playing girls' sports.
You all know me. I've never pushed for sex changes.
I mean, those are all Democrats. From Colin Allred, who got his ass smoked in Texas by Ted Cruz, to John Tester, who got smoked out in Montana. Tammy Baldwin allegedly won. We talked about that, I guess it was yesterday on the podcast. A lot of craziness going on in Wisconsin. We shall see how that plays out. But yeah, these people embracing all of this. Why? Because they could see the American people are hungry for change. I have to smile about it, folks. I really have to smile about it. You know why they're hungry for change? Even Stephen A. Smith, you know this guy, he's a sportscaster. I can't tell where he is. Like, I think he's a liberal, but I think he's kind of waking up to the fact that liberalism is not working. And then I saw this clip on social media. I thought I'd play it for you because he's pissed at the Democrat Party.
She lost 31 states. He swept the swing states, the blue states, got 312 electoral college votes. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse my language. That is an ass whipping. That is what that is. There is no way around it, which means that there needs to be an autopsy done on a Democratic Party. Because you see, I'm not necessarily happy that Donald Trump win, but I'm a gracious loser. And more importantly than anything else, I'm about what's in the best interest of the country. And if the country decidedly picked one candidate over another, we have no choice but to pay attention to that. This wasn't some close race to be debated. They were projecting that Donald Trump was going to lose and potentially that the outcome wouldn't be decided for a minimum of 5 days and possibly as long as a week. Ladies and gentlemen, the results came in 5 hours.
So there you go. He's an entertaining guy. I don't always agree with everything he says, but he is an entertaining guy. And if you like sports, he's fun to watch talking about that too, because he's very controversial. He does much of what I do on this program is give you the straight scoop. You know, I'm often told, you always say things, Grant, that I feel but don't want to say in public. You say it. Well, that's what I'm here for. You know, I always pride myself on just being your voice. I really do. We call it Stinchfield's Army because it's really your army. And I'm proud to have you all as members of it. If you're new to the program, I appreciate you being here. Rumble's been so great to me, helping us promote this. The podcast is growing like crazy. And I would urge you to go to my website, grantstinchfield.com, Stinchfield 1776 on most of the social media platforms. And follow me. Sign up for the email list. It's greatly appreciated. It really is. And you being here is greatly appreciated. I love the platform. I love Rumble. Twitter, thankfully, we're back there too. And it's going great. Folks, we're going to have a great wild ride. don't think we're not going to have downs over this. There's going to be some things that come up. There are going to be some storms to navigate, but we're here for you. We'll navigate these storms. No problem. I'm happy to navigate the storms. Are you ready for the worst storm? These are my friends over at the Wellness Company. They gave me this commercial. I don't even know if it still works now that we're past the election, but I'll play it for you because I want you to be prepared. I want you to have one of these kits.
Do you really trust her to run this country for the next 4 years?
No.
How have the last 4 years gone under him? Well, your tax dollars are being funneled overseas and to support illegal immigration. They've left our people behind, offering just $750 in aid as if that's enough. With political insanity that we're living through, supply chain shortages, natural disasters, and the looming threat of another pandemic, you need to prepare your family now. The Wellness Company offers 5 critical medical kits packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, amoxicillin, Z-Pak, and more. Each kit is backed by Dr. Peter McCullough. Ordering is simple. Just a few clicks and it's delivered to your door. Head to twc.health/grant and use code GRANT to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. That's twc.health/grant and use code GRANT to save up to $60 off plus free shipping right now.
All right, twc.health/grant. Do that today. We're so grateful for their sponsorship of this program as well. You know, as I'm looking at a lot of the comments in the Rumble chat, this is about the deep state. I think our number one problem right now comes from within. We don't have a government that is by and for the people anymore. We don't have a government that works for us. We have a government filled with career bureaucrats, a ruling class of bureaucrats that have now been dubbed the deep state, that are out for themselves, that are out for ultimately their future when they go to work for these big companies, whether it's in the defense industry, whether it's in big pharma. And they're worried about getting jobs that pay a lot of money when they get out of there. And they're worried about control and power for their Democrat colleagues in the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. They're not worried about us. And that's got to change. Because I do believe when this nation was founded, our founding fathers had a vision for America that was led by a government by and for the people, and a government that was good and had the best interest of the people at heart. Can you imagine a government that's good? I can't right now. I hate government. I really do. I hate it at every level. I don't even think we have good local government. We don't have good state government. And I'm in Texas. It's pretty good. Even here, you got the Texas Workforce Commission. Try being an employer. You can't win a case. These people make one claim. You lose. Government has now overrun free markets at every level. We get back to free markets. We get back to limited government at every level. I think President Trump will help with this. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy coming in with this Government Efficiency Council. That's going to really help things. Elon says he can cut $2 trillion from the federal government. I can't wait to see just the heart attacks that lawmakers have when their little pet projects get cut off. Can't wait for that to happen. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. I'll see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. Ukraine now making nuclear bombs. Ukraine with a nuclear bomb is a very frightening thing. We're going to talk about that tonight on the show. And we'll ultimately talk about what President Trump's agenda is. What's his goal with all of these picks that we're talking about? That on the Real America's Voice show. Lauren Boebert will be one of my guests, as well as a whole slew of others. It should be a great show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Real America's Voice. I hope you tune in there. God bless every single one of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls only because of you. We'll see you soon, folks.